Thank you, and welcome to Geek News Reviews, The Army of Darkness. My name is Jay, joined by Max and Philip as always, with special guests Mike McGee and Dan B, which I think at this point they are regulars. So I should probably start introducing them as regulars and not special guests. Anyway, on to this movie. So, out of all the reviews we have done and movies we have watched, while I enjoyed Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, this is probably the most fun I had watching a movie because it honestly is one of the funnest things you've ever seen in your life. So, Max, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Army of Darkness is a classic. Just Ash going wild, and then he cares about the medieval times for a good hour and a half, and everything ends up kind of working out in the end. And there it is. But no, it's the best one I think out of all the three. I think Sam Raimi just wanted to have a lot of fun with it, and they gave him the the money and said do what you want to do. It's pretty crazy, like he goes from here to there. He's obviously, working a chainsaw, they build him a hand, like they're driving the car around in the freaking 1800s. So, it's pretty ridiculous, but no, it's a great freaking zany romp through this land of the dead and all that good stuff. And he gets back to some of the really good stuff in the cabin, with all the little ashes running around. That's pretty cool too. That's probably my favorite scene. The little ashes are smacking the crap out of him. I love the movie. It's a great, it's a classic movie. You can't beat it.
Oh, Max, I'm sorry. Do you want to introduce your friend?
Yeah, this is Scott. He's in IT.
Hello, Scott. What are your thoughts on Army of Darkness?
Army of Darkness is, like Max said, a classic. It's a movie I didn't see till, I know a lot of people saw it like kind of their teenage years. I didn't see it till I was an adult, but I think that worked because at that point I had already been exposed to a lot of the culture that it helped generate, and so it was nice to see like, oh hey, that's from Duke Nukem, or that's from Blood, or they put not from those, but like that spawned it. So I think it's just got so much influence on geek culture in general that it's kind of hard to not appreciate it, and it's a damn fun movie.
Mr. Dan?
I've got to agree with everybody else. It's a great flick. It's a classic. I don't think anybody here is going to say no, it's horrible. I will say the Blu-ray transfer doesn't do it a whole lot of favors.
We're on the reverse because remember the other horrible movie we were talking about? We're like the Blu-ray features were good on this one.
Yeah. No, like I'm a big fan of physical effects. I love stop motion, but the rear projection parts are pretty obvious now where they weren't in the original transfer. It's still cool and I love seeing it, but it kind of takes you out of the movie to some point. I like how Ash, finally blooms into Army of Darkness Ash, where he just takes a beating as he did in Evil Dead 2 and everything else, but he just survives by his force of will alone.
We have a chainsaw hand.
Yeah, well, yeah, but come on, man. He's been hit by like so many things every 5 minutes. Yeah, I love the cool effects. I love the flying books. All around, it's a cool flick with a lot of really cool throwbacks to I think some of Sam Raimi's favorite movies. You got Jason and the Argonauts. You got Klaatu Barada. Yeah, it's awesome.
Mike?
Yeah, I think across the board we're gonna say, yeah, I like it, or like I've been saying, it's all about what kind of mood you're in, and this one is definitely for the mood when you want to watch something silly but has a sense of adventure to it. It's not scary in any way, shape, or form, but it's fun though. It is the most quest-like out of the whole set of them, and definitely Quest-like, yeah, I like that. And honestly, yeah, this is the most Campbelliest we see Bruce Campbell, and pretty much how we know Bruce Campbell is defined
Yes.
by this movie, essentially. And outside of Groovy from the second one, there's more lines that I can remember from this one. Like, "This is my boomstick." We just
Yep.
call that pillow talk, baby. You know,
Give me some sugar.
give me some sugar. Like, and no, it is fun. It is like Dan was saying, the practical effects. Yeah, they're definitely showing their age, but they are still impressive, I think. And I actually have the director's cut bootleg version that looks like it's wrapped up in like wrapping paper or whatever.
The
Or,
official bootleg version.
The official bootleg version.
So bootleg. Yep.
So it's got the post-apocalyptic ending. And, oh man, like, okay, that's kind of a downer note and it can lead off in something else. I do like the ending that was, I think, released originally in the American theaters where he was at S-Mart. Like, I like that ending more. But quintessential Ash.
Yes.
Philip?
Well, I'm loved it. Running thin out on topics. You had to take away my bootleg version there.
Sorry.
I was like, I know what's talking about. I got it. Cool. I can throw that in there. But what's funny is, yeah, that really is a downer of an ending. Because it wakes up, he gets out of the cave, and everyone's dead because he slept too long. But let's see. Really love the movie. I mean, the one-liners are some of the best. I mean, I would agree with you, Mike. It's not at all scary. I was trying to debate if it's an action comedy or a fantasy comedy. It's one of those two. There is no horror in it at all. It's just a lot of silliness.
Quest does it. It's definitely a Quest movie.
So fantasy then.
Fantasy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's what I also actually here's something I can talk about is because I saw this movie without seeing the other two, and you don't need to, honestly, to actually appreciate this movie. The beginning of this movie gives you enough of a wrap up that you actually don't even realize that there are two other movies. I mean, you're like, what the heck is it? Almost fits in with the shtick of the movie, right? Of like, hey, we were gonna do this. Let's throw somebody in this world. Wait, here's a little story. All right, here you go. We're now in the middle of the desert in medieval times. Deal with it. And it's awesome for that reason. Well, like I remember the first time I watched that movie, and then I tried to go look for the old ones, and I was looking. I think it's Bridget Fonda, who plays his girlfriend in one of those clips. I tried to look for her in one of those other movies, and I was like, why isn't she in this? And that's when I finally caught on. They happen to have money at that time, not previously. But overall, yeah, absolutely love it. I'd almost recommend that. I'd almost recommend that movie to be. That's a perfect movie to like intro you into Evil Dead. Because I mean, especially as a kid, I would not want the first one or the second one. The last one at least gives you an idea. You can have some fun, and then once you get a little bit older, then you can kind of appreciate what the other movies are.
So I let my stepson watch this movie with me, and he loves Ash, and so I let him watch Evil Dead 2 with me last week when we did the review. And I overheard him explaining to three of his friends the whole Ash cutting his hand off to replace it with a chainsaw, and then how he became this awesome superhero. So that's fantastic. But yeah, man, some of my favorite scenes are in this movie. Like even from the beginning, right after the wrap up, when he first gets back in time and all of the soldiers are attacking his car. That is the tone of the rest of the movie, and then the army of skeletons at the end. Fuck George Lucas. That is some of the best CG ever. Like it is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, when he's in the pit fighting the lady, he jumps up and grabs a chainsaw. I mean, that's cheesy as all hell, but it's perfect for this movie. And like Philip said, if you haven't seen the rest, and you really catch on to the cheesiness quick in this movie and get that you're supposed to be laughing with it. And honestly, I saw this movie first with Philip, and I don't know if I was in the right mindset or tired or whatever, but I didn't like this movie at all. And then when I watched it the second time, I have no idea what I was thinking because this movie is fantastic. And I think Tony and I have watched this movie probably 12 times in the last like 2 or 3 months because he enjoys it. And like Philip said, this one is fun. You know, it's
Mhm.
not at all scary. If this had come out today, this would have been PG-13 at best. I can't think of any hard cussing. So, but yeah. Um,
You get the one. You get one F bomb to keep.
Yeah.
But
um,
I think like it's weird. I think it's like a weird cross between Evil Dead and Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly. That's perfect because every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I kind of want to watch Monty Python. I don't. Because I don't think I own it, which I should. But yeah, I get the same sentiment. Like I expect the Knights Who Say Knee to show up at the moment. But does anybody have anything else to add or any rebuttal to anything anybody else said? I think
Just one thing.
yeah.
Go to island.com.
And that is the review of Army of Darkness. Join us in 34 minutes for our normal podcast at 9 o'clock. My name is Jay, joined by Philip, Mike, Dan, Max, and Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Flat planes too.
Oh yeah.